Good evening and welcome back to another episode of The Longing, where today, you guessed it, we are going to be continuing to read Homer's Iliad. So, let's get going with that. Who fair Zelia's wealthy valleys till, 106, fast by the foot of Ida's sacred hill, or drinks Sepus of thy sable flood, were led by Pandarus of royal blood, to whom his art Apollo deigned to show, graced with the presence of his shafts and bow. From rich Apasus and Adristia's towers, high Teres' summits, and Pitye's bowers. From these the congregated troops obey young Amphius and Adrastus' equal sway. Old Merop's sons, whom, skilled in fates to come, the sire forewarned and prophesied their doom. Fate urged them on, the sire forewarned in vain. They rushed to war and perished on the plain. From Practius' stream, Percote's pasture lands, and Cestus and Abydos' neighbouring strands, from great Arisba's walls and Selle's coast, Asius Hytracides conducts his host. High on his car he shakes the flowing reins, his fiery coursers thundering o'er the plains. The fierce Pelasgi, next in war renowned, march from Larissa's ever fertile ground. In equal arms their brother leaders shine, Hippothous bold and Pylius the divine. Next Acamas and Pyrrhus lead their hosts, in dread array from Thracia's wintry coasts, round the bleak realms where Hellespontus roars, and Boreas beats their hoarse resounding shores. With great Euphemus the Ciconians move, sprung from Troezenian Ceus, loved by Jove. Pyracmes the Paeonian troops attend, skilled in the fight their crooked bows to bend. From Axius' ample bed he leads them on, Axius that laves the distant Amydon, Axius that swells with all his neighbouring rills, and wide round the floating region fills. The Paphlagonians Pylomenes rules, where rich Henitia breeds her savage mules, where Erythinus' rising cliffs are seen, thy groves of box, thy Taurus evergreen, and where Scialgus and Cromna lie, and lofty Sesamus invades the sky, and where Parthenius, rolled through banks of flowers, reflects her bordering palaces and bowers. Here marched in arms the Halizonian band, whom Odius and Epistrophus command. From those far regions where the sun refines the ripening silver in Albian mines. There mighty Chromis led the Mysian train, and Augur Ennomus inspired in vain. For stern Achilles lopped his sacred head, rolled down Scamander with the vulgar dead. Phorcys and brave Ascanius here unite, the Ascanian Phrygians eager for the fight, of those who round Maeonia's realms reside, or whom the veils and shades of Tmolus hide. Mestles and Antiphus the charge partake, born on the banks of Gyges' silent lake, there from the fields where wild Meander flows. high Mycale and Latmos's shady brows, and proud Miletus came the Carian throngs, with mingled clamours and with barbarous tongues. 107. Amphimachus and Norstes guide the train, Norstes who bold, Amphimachus the vain, who tricked with gold and glittering on his car, rode like a woman to the field of war. Fool that he was, by fierce Achilles slain, the river swept him to the briny main. There whelmed with waves the gaudy warrior lies, the valiant victor seized the golden prize. The forces last in fair array succeed, which blameless Glaucus and Sarpedon lead, the warlike bands that distant Lycia yields, where gulfy Xanthus foams along the fields. Book 3. Argument. The duel of Menelaus and Paris. The armies being ready to engage, a single combat is agreed upon between Menelaus and Paris by the intervention of Hector for the determination of the war. Iris is sent to call Helen to behold the fight. She leads her to the walls of Troy, where Priam sat with his counsellors, observing the Grecian leaders on the plain below, to whom Helen gives an account of the chief of them. The kings on either part take the solemn oath for the conditions of the combat. The duel ensues, wherein, Paris being overcome, he is snatched away in a cloud by Venus, and transported to his apartment. She then calls Helen from the walls, and brings the lovers together. Agamemnon, on the part of the Grecians, demands the restoration of Helen and the performance of the articles. The 23rd day still continues throughout this book. The scene is sometimes in the fields before Troy, and sometimes in Troy itself. Thus by their leaders' care each martial band moves into ranks and stretches o'er the land. With shouts the Trojans rushing from afar proclaim their motions and provoke the war. So when inclement winters vex the plain, with piercing frosts or thick descending rain, to warmer seas the cranes embodied fly, 108, with noise and order through the midway sky. To pygmy nations wounds and death they bring, and all war descends upon the wing. But silent, breathing rage, resolved and skilled, 109, by mutual aids to fix a doubtful field. Swift march the Greeks, the rapid dust around darkening arises from the laboured ground. Thus from his flaggy wings, when Notus sheds a night of vapours round the mountain heads. Swift gliding mists the dusky fields invade, to thieves more grateful than the midnight shade, while scarce the swains their feeding flocks survey, lost and confused amidst the thickened day. So wrapped in gathering dust the Grecian train, a moving cloud swept on and hid the plain. I think with that we're close enough to the end that I'm actually going to stop there, just for fear of having a particularly difficult paragraph coming up. So instead, as I say, we are going to stop there. As far as the reading is concerned, and we are about to finish the episode anyway. So we're just going to pretty much sit down and have a bit of a chat, in that I'm really struggling with this book, or rather the names in the book. The names of places, as you can probably tell, are really making me struggle to continue to read this just in the moment. It's not simple when you've not seen the names before and you're just trying to read by sight. I'll say that much. It's very confusing for the brain. But anyway, I'm half tempted to stop, but I'm going to keep going for continuing to read the book, because even though I'm struggling with it, it's something I do kind of want to do. So, with all that said, thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you all have a wonderful morning, evening, afternoon, or night, no matter what time of day it is. I hope you all have a wonderful one of it. And as always, we will be back tomorrow for more of The Longing. Goodbye.